Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Courtney Jane Solo. Welcome everybody to the 4th episode of Game Show News. I am so glad you guys can come and join me today. Here on Game Show News, I will be bringing you some news about what went on game shows, past or present. For all of you game show fans out there, I will present some of the most exciting wins on Game Show News. But there is also some heartbreaking or disappointing losses that I have to present as well. And then once in a while, I will give potential updates on where the hosts and or contestants are now. And when I present Game Show News, I will only be telling you about what went on game shows. And as many of you know by now, but if you are new here, I will not be showing any game show video clips without YouTube's approval due to copyright. Because if YouTube finds a video clip of a game show on which it may infringe on copyright, then the video will be taken down and there will be a copyright strike. And as a lot of you know, that 3 copyright strikes will result in a channel termination. And I am going to make sure that this channel stays. Alright everybody, here we go, with the 4th episode of Game Show News. Enjoy! Today, on Game Show News, I will talk about a big win on Press Your Luck. I will also talk about celebrity chef David Chang making a guest appearance on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, as well as history being made on Millionaire 2. But first, we have some breaking news. And this is the first time that I am presenting a breaking news headline on Game Show News. Pete Marshall, the original master of the Hollywood Squares from 1966 until 1981, has passed away at the age of 98 on August the 15th, 2024, from kidney failure. Marshall was born with the name Ralph Pierre Lacocque on March the 30th, 1926, in Clarksburg, West Virginia. Marshall was given his stage name by an actor named John Robert Powers. Powers had chosen the last name, Marshall, for Peter's sister, Joanne Drew, who was born with the name Joan Letitia Lacocque. Born January the 31st, 1922, and died September the 10th, 1996. And Peter adopted his name early in his career and paired it with an anglicized version of his middle name. In 1966, Pete Marshall began hosting the Hollywood Squares on NBC. The reason why he hosted was because his friend, actor Maury Anderson, was helping him with finding a job, because Peter was working as an actor and singer at the time. And now, I'm going to tell you about something that you may not know on the Hollywood Squares, and I can tell you, I did not know about this either. The Hollywood Squares was first produced in 1965, originally as a pilot episode. The pilot episode was hosted by Bert Parks, who was also the host of the annual Miss America pageant from 1955 until 1979. The celebrity guests in the pilot were Charlie Weaver, Rosemary, Wally Cox, Abby Dalton, Maury Amsterdam, Giselle McKenzie, Vera Miles, Robert Q. Lewis, and star of Gilligan's Island, Jim Backus, who was in the center square. And then, they produced another pilot that same year, and it was hosted by actor and comedian Sandy Barron, who would later be known as Jack Klompus, a recurring character on the television sitcom Seinfeld. Then, finally, on Monday, October the 17th, 1966, Pete Marshall was named as the permanent original host and premiered for the first time on NBC. Originally, Peter did not want to host the show, but he took the job to make sure that rival comic Dan Rowan would not get the job as host. When Peter took the job, he thought that the show would last for 13 weeks or 65 episodes. But the show became so popular, it lasted for 15 years. The original daytime version of the Hollywood Squares ran from October the 17th, 1966 until June the 20th, 1980. Then, they had a first nighttime version on NBC that ran from January the 12th through September the 13th, 1968. And then a nighttime syndicated version was produced from November the 1st, 1971 until May the 22nd, 1981. Then, about 2.5 years later, they brought the show back with a combined show called The Match Game Hollywood Squares Hour. The show was hosted by Gene Rayburn, who hosted the match game portion, and John Bauman, better known as Bowser, from the doo-wop group Sha Na Na, who hosted the Hollywood Squares portion. The show ran from Halloween, October the 31st, 1983, until July the 27th, 1984, on NBC. Then, on September the 15th, 1986, they brought the Hollywood Squares back, originally as The New Hollywood Squares, hosted by John Davidson. And before John Davidson became the host of Hollywood Squares, he was a panelist in some episodes of the original Peter Marshall version of the show. John Davidson's version ran from September the 15th, 1986, until June the 16th, 1989. And then, 9 years later, the show was brought back, and it was hosted by TV personality Tom Bergeron. Tom hosted from September the 14th, 1998, until May the 6th, 2004. And Peter Marshall became a center square guest on the week of December the 9th, 2002, during Game Show Week on Hollywood Squares. And he got to host one episode on Thursday, December the 12th, 2002, while Tom Bergeron was sitting in the center square. And I just got the word that Hollywood Squares is going to be coming back sometime in January 2025. The show is going to be hosted by former NFL football player Nate Burleson, along with actress and current talk show host Drew Barrymore, who will be in the center square. The show is going to be on CBS, and I know they are going to pay a tribute to Peter Marshall when the show premieres. Peter, thank you for more than 70 years of your career as an actor, a singer, and a game show host. I enjoyed watching your clips on the Hollywood Squares. You made everybody feel at home by watching your show during the 60s, 70s, and 80s. God bless you, Peter, and may you rest in peace. Thank you. Alright, here we go with the next game show news headline. The next game show news headline that I want to talk about is on Press Your Luck. On Thursday, July the 18th, 2024, Press Your Luck began its 6th season on ABC. And for over 5 years, the show has aired more than 50 episodes. So, in honor of more than 50 shows of Press Your Luck, they introduced a new square called the Big 5-0. The Big 5-0 is a new square they featured that is similar to the Big 4-0 last year, when the show celebrated its 40th anniversary. Press Your Luck debuted on September the 19th, 1983, hosted by Peter Tomarken on CBS, until September the 26th, 1986. If a contestant lands on the Big 50, they will win 50 of anything. The first Big 50 hit was on July the 25th, 2024. The contestants were personal trainer Dylan, Navy veteran Hattie, and Frank, who is a real estate broker. Dylan became the first contestant to hit the Big 50. Here was the score. Dylan was up to $99,988 in cash and prizes. That is only $12 shy of $100,000. He had 3 spins in the earned column and only 2 spins in the pass column. He was required to take 2 spins before he could pass any earned spins. And then he hit the Big 50 on his second to last passed spin. The Big 50 had $50,000 in cash, bringing his score to $149,988 in cash and prizes. Then, on his last pass spin, he landed on an interesting cash value on the board, $2,345. Yes, that is 2, 3, 4, 5 in cash. Dylan's total was $152,333 in cash and prizes. Dylan had passed his remaining spins to Frank, and during Frank's 2 of his 3 passed spins, he hit a whammy and lost $49,274 in cash and prizes. On Frank's final spin, he landed on $2,000 in cash, which was not enough to catch up to Dylan, because Frank needed to land on a square with an additional spin in order for him to keep going. And Dylan ended up being the winner with $152,333 in cash and prizes. He ended up going to the bonus game and won $150,000 in cash during the Big Bucks Bonanza round. And not only did he win $150,000 in cash during the Big Bucks Bonanza, he also survived the bonus game with 3 whammies. Wow! The prizes that he won were a collection of Marvel comic books, valued at $3,400, a trip to Easter Island, valued at $10,718, and a Dodge Charger, priced at an outstanding $59,000, along with an amazing $229,215 in cash, for a grand total of $302,333. Dylan, I have to say, you have kicked some major butt in that episode. I enjoyed watching your appearance. Congratulations, Dylan, on winning $302,333. Enjoy the cash and prizes. And Hattie, you played an amazing game too. Also, thank you for your service in the United States Navy. And Frank, you played incredibly well too. Alright, here we go with the next game show news headline. The next game show news headline that I would like to talk about is from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. On July the 24th, 2024, they showed a clip of celebrity chef David Chang answering his $1 million question for his charity from November the 9th, 2020. The charity that David was playing for was the Southern Smoke Foundation. The Southern Smoke Foundation is a non-profit food and beverage charity founded in 2015 by Chris Shepard in Houston, Texas. Chris started this charity to raise funds for the Multiple Sclerosis Society because Samuel Antonio Gianola was diagnosed with MS. The charity also takes care of their own by putting dollars directly into the pockets of food and beverage workers when it's needed most. Here was David Chang's $1 million question. Although He and his wife have never touched a light switch for the fear of being shocked. Who was the first president to have electricity in the White House? A. Ulysses S. Grant. B. Benjamin Harrison. C. Chester A. Arthur. Or D. Andrew Johnson. David used his phone a friend to call ESPN analyst Mina Kimes. She said that the answer is probably Benjamin Harrison. Then, David decided to take a gamble and go with B. Benjamin Harrison as his final answer. And he was able to get the question right. Benjamin Harrison is the correct answer. He won $1 million for the Southern Smoke Foundation. But not only that, he was also the first contestant since November the 11th, 2009 to win the top prize on the show. And he became the first celebrity contestant to win $1 million for his charity. After they showed the clip of his $1 million win, host Jimmy Kimmel welcomed back David Chang and Mina Kimes, who were in the studio audience. Jimmy asked David what he thought after he had seen that video clip of his $1 million win. David said that it was so insane and still could not believe it happened. Mina told David that she could not believe he heard her over the phone and went with it. Most people who get up to the $1 million question when they play the game would walk away with $500,000. But David felt confident enough to answer the question and winning $1 million for his charity. Unfortunately, David's $1 million win was during the COVID-19 pandemic, and there was no audience present at the time. So, to make this up, Jimmy told both David and Mina that they all owed him a round of applause. And everybody got to applaud David with his $1 million win, along with Mina, who helped him out. David, congratulations on your $1 million win back in 2020. I have something coming in right now. On Wednesday, August the 14th, 2024, a father and son duo made history on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. The names are Ike and Alan Barinholtz. Ike Barinholtz is an actor and comedian who starred in the comedy sketch show Mad TV from 2002 through 2007. And Ike's father, Alan Barinholtz, is also an actor and a real-life attorney who plays a fake court judge, Alan Rosen, on the reality hoax sitcom Jury Duty on Freevee. Both Ike and Alan were playing for the same charity. It was called the ASL program at Los Encinos School. The American Sign Language program is a charity where people help out kids who are deaf to get them into schools and learn American Sign Language. The reason why Ike and Alan were playing for the ASL program was because actor John Barinholtz, the son of Alan and the brother of Ike, has a son by the name of Desi, who is deaf. Here is the headline. Ike and Alan were up to $500,000, and they were going to be playing for $1 million for their charity. They had 2 lifelines left on the board. Ask the audience and ask the host. Here is the question. Not including blanks or bonus spaces, the highest valued 3-letter Scrabble word is Zax, spelled Z-A-X, which is a what? A. Rare species of African antelope. B. Ceramic container for holy water. C. Letter in the Arabic alphabet. Or D. Tool for cutting roofing slates. Ike and Alan decide to use their Ask the Audience lifeline first. The audience results were 51% went with A. Rare species of African antelope. 28% went with C. Letter in the Arabic alphabet. 11% went with D. Tool for cutting roofing slates. And 10% went with B. Ceramic container for holy water. Then, they decide to use Ask the Host and ask Jimmy Kimmel about the word Zax. Now, before Jimmy gives out his opinion, he tells both Ike and Alan that he does not have the answers, because Jimmy is not allowed to see or know the questions in advance before the show to prevent cheating. But here is what Jimmy thinks the answer is. He thinks the answer is D, tool for cutting roofing slates. Then Alan asks why he thinks it is D. Then Jimmy tells them he's used the word Zax before, and he's had people curse at him for using that word, causing the audience to laugh. Then, Jimmy finishes his sentence by saying they've looked up the word Zax. Also, he said that he had smoked everybody in the Scrabble tournament. But he feels strongly confident that the answer is D. So, he made D, tool for cutting roofing slates, as his final answer. And after Ike and Alan used Ask the Host, they were also thinking that the answer is D, tool for cutting roofing slates, as well. So, they decided to go with D, tool for cutting roofing slates, as their final answer. After the answer is locked in, Jimmy tells the computer to please reveal the correct answer. Then, some tension was building up for approximately 20 seconds. And after a 20-second tension build-up, the computer revealed that the correct answer is D, tools for cutting roofing slates. Ike and Alan Barinholtz won $1 million for the ASL program at Los Encinos School. Not only did they become the second celebrities to win $1 million for their charities, they made history by becoming the first team to win the top prize. Congratulations, Alan and Ike, on winning $1 million for the ASL program and for doing something special for your family. Well done. Alright, here we go with another game show news headline. On Monday, September the 16th, 2024, Jaleel White, better known as Steve Urkel, from the sitcom Family Matters, will be hosting a new show called Flipside on Game Show Network. A game show where all the questions have two sides, like on a coin. Two teams of players will compete for the chance to win $10,000 in cash by guessing how they think two different groups of people feel about the same issue. Jaleel, good luck on hosting your new show on September the 16th. I hope your show becomes a hit. And also, Jaleel is a panel in some episodes on the shows 25 Words or Less, hosted by Meredith Vieira, and Pictionary, hosted by Jerry O'Connell. Jaleel was on the first aired episode of Pictionary from September the 12th, 2022. And I have another game show news headline that I would like to present. Brooke Burns, host of Game Show Network's Masterminds, is going to be hosting another show on Game Show Network. That's right. In 2025, Brooke Burns will be hosting a revamped version of the classic game show, Tic-Tac-Toe. And I would like to give Brooke Burns the best of luck on hosting this new Tic-Tac-Toe revival. You know, I love my job hosting game show news. I love presenting to you guys some of my favorite game show news headlines in stores, past or present. And it is quite rare that I get to present something in the future, because nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. And the shows that I got to tell you that are coming in the future are Flipside, a revival of Tic-Tac-Toe, and a revival of Hollywood Squares. Even though that this is my fourth show as host, I enjoy this job so much, and I would like to thank you guys for watching this new show with me. I really mean it, from the bottom of my heart. I am so grateful that you can come and join me, and I hope you continue to watch Game Show News, because I am going to be planning on bringing more game show news headlines in stores, past or present, in the near future. And I promise you guys that I will make Game Show News a #1 hit show on the Plotagon 9133. Okay everybody, that is going to wrap up Game Show News for today. I hope you can all tune in for episode 5 on the next Game Show News, the next time I come back. Thank you guys for watching. You all have a great day, and I hope to see you for the next episode. Bye bye. Hi everyone. Thank you all for tuning in to Game Show News on the Plotagon 9133 channel. If you liked today's episode of Game Show News, please give this video a thumbs up. And then if you really like Game Show News or any other video on this channel, please subscribe for more content. Okay everybody. You all have a great day. Thanks for watching.